Looking for a guaranteed way to create content that resonates with your audience? Start a podcast, interview your ideal clients, and let them choose the topic of the interview. Because if your ideal clients care about the topic, there's a good chance the rest of your audience will care about it too. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to B2B Growth, a daily podcast for B2B leaders. We've interviewed names you've probably heard before, like Gary Vaynerchuk and Simon Sinek, but you've probably never heard from the majority of our guests. That's because the bulk of our interviews aren't with professional speakers and authors. Most of our guests are in the trenches leading sales and marketing teams. They're implementing strategy. They're experimenting with tactics. They're building the fastest growing B2B companies in the world. My name is James Carberry. I'm the founder of Sweetfish Media, a podcast agency for B2B brands, and I'm also one of the co-hosts of this show. When we're not interviewing sales and marketing leaders, you'll hear stories from behind the scenes of our own business. We'll share the ups and downs of our journey as we attempt to take over the world. Just kidding. Well, maybe. Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. I'm Logan Lyles, Director of Partnerships here at Sweetfish Media. I am joined today by Harry Whelchel. He is the founder of ConvoPanda. Harry, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, Logan. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. A little cold out here in Colorado today, but other than that, no worse for wear. Harry, we're going to be diving into a topic that's near and dear to my heart. You know, here at Sweetfish, we talk a lot about effective LinkedIn strategies, and I am excited to dive into some specific lessons you've got for folks on generating more leads on LinkedIn. Before we do that, I would love for you to share a little bit of your background, why you're talking about this, and what you and the team at ConvoPanda are up to these days, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks so much again, Logan, for having me on. I'm the founder of ConvoPanda. My background is I've worked professionally as a software engineer and also as a digital marketer. And so I've worked for companies that do sales enablement technology and software. So kind of those combinations in my background led me to helping B2B SaaS companies generate leads and grow their business on LinkedIn. So excited to be here, excited to talk about the topic.
Nice, man. Very interesting combo there of software engineer and digital marketer.
It's a good set to have. Yeah, it's nice because you can kind of work up and down the stack, so to speak. And yeah, it's been great so far.
Well, let's dive right in, Harry. The first thing I know you wanted to share with listeners today in setting yourself up for success of these 5 specific ways to help generate more leads on LinkedIn is know your niche and know the results that you drive. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what I would like to say just before we get into that is what I've found and the type of companies I work with, they're often maybe seed stage or a little bit later. Okay. And so they have found, maybe they have 5, 10 plus customers that are really happy. Mm-hmm. And what they're trying to do is figure out how to grow their sales funnel and really actually build a process in place. And so a lot of times there's different ways you can get traffic and leads, right? You can get leads from paid ads, you can get leads from organic content, or you can do outbound. And traditionally outbound has been via email. And that still works, but it's just getting noisy and noisier and harder for that to perform like it used to. And so what we found basically, the biggest overarching talking point and thesis I want to leave the listeners with is that if you're just starting to ramp up your sales funnel today, the fastest way and most predictable way to generate leads is with LinkedIn. So it's not going to necessarily be the largest channel for your business for the life of the growth of the company. But when you're just ramping up your sales funnel, you can literally dial up and down leads for your business and grow in a very predictable way. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I can tell you from experience, you know, LinkedIn has been a big driver of new sales conversations for our agency at Sweetfish. So we've lived that as well. So I'm definitely tracking with you there, Harry, for sure.
Yeah. And so to your question about niche and results, this channel is really influenced by a lot of traditional direct response copywriting principles. So one of the things that I always tell folks that I work with is that people don't buy products or services. they buy better versions of themselves or better versions of their business.
Kind of like the new Apple Watch commercials, right?
Exactly. Like Apple is a great example of this. It's what's funny about it is often when you see this done well in copywriting is it almost goes unnoticed because it's done so well. You just feel like it's solving your problem, and you get kind of hooked in. You start reading on past it. It doesn't kind of stop you. It kind of smooths you along and gets you to just keep reading and keep learning more about the opportunity. So you don't even notice often when it's there, when it's happening to you. But basically, you want to position whatever you're doing around who you're serving and what business results you're driving for them. So a really good niche would be something like the VP of sales at fintech companies, or head of recruiting at B2C companies. It's usually a combination of a job title, a vertical, an industry. You kind of want to really know who you're going after and what's important to them. And then with the results side of things, you got to think about what is the business outcome you drive. So it's not about the features. It's not about what you do. It's about, do you help them save money? Do you help them make money? Do you help them save time, get time back? Do you help them move faster in their career or get a promotion? Like, there's a lot of different ways of going about it. And generally in B2B, it's going to be something around there. And if you can make that really crisp, if you've got specific numbers you can call out, like if you can say, we help our clients increase sales by 30% or reduce costs by 25%, the more specific you can make it, the more powerful it'll be, and the more likely people will be interested in what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. As they say, the riches are in the niches, and the results that you can speak to in someone sitting in a very similar role. Like you said, if you serve, VPs of sales in fintech, if you can speak to results of a very similar buyer that shares that persona, then those results are going, and that social proof are going to speak to them, that much more readily. The other thing I know you talk to folks about, Harry, is designing your LinkedIn profile to convert. One of the things we've done as a team is we've standardized our tagline in our LinkedIn profiles and made it very punchy, because I think a lot of folks don't realize that tagline follows you everywhere with a post, even when you comment on other people's posts. So tell us a little bit more. I'd love to hear your thoughts on tagline and other ways that you can design your LinkedIn profile to convert and generate new leads.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is this idea in direct response copywriting of writing a sales letter or a sales page. Mm-hmm. And, a long form ad, it's something you might see that like David Ogilvy wrote back in the day. And the first part of any kind of piece of content like that is the headline. And your headline's main job is to get the person to keep reading and read the next sentence. And so on LinkedIn and your LinkedIn profile, your tagline is your headline of your ad. Mm-hmm. And basically what we recommend is to use your niche and your results and craft a headline around that. So often it's, I help niche get results. And then depending on the maturity of the market, if it's really competitive, if it's a new market, we will also sometimes suggest adding in how you do it. So if it's a more mature market, if there are other people that are doing the same stuff, you might put with method at the end of the tagline to let them know how you're doing what you're doing. But often if it's a newer offering, if it's more novel, you don't even need to say how you do it. It's just focus on the results and who you're serving. So that is the first piece of making your profile convert, is getting that tagline really dialed in. And that's cool that you guys use a consistent one, because that allows everyone to have that same good first impression whenever they meet somebody from Sweetfish. And to your point, yeah, so it shows up everywhere. It shows up in LinkedIn Messenger. It shows up when you send a connection request to somebody. It's all over the place. And it's the thing that gets people to engage. And then they'll either look at your profile and kind of check you out, or they'll go to your company's website and check that out. Yep. So with the actual profile itself, what you want to do next is you want to have your description built out. And that's where kind of the meat of copy can be. Often I'll take some good copy from the marketing website, bring it in there, and you want to focus on who the audience is, calling out the niche. You want to agitate and call out the problem. You want to introduce a solution, but you don't really want to get into too many features and dump that on them, but you want to talk about a couple of benefits. And then you want to end with like a very strong call to action. You can add a link to your Calendly or whatever calendar booking solution you're using. Put that in there. And then we'll take that description and we'll also put it in the experience section. So if you're CEO or you're head of partnerships, whatever your role is, we don't really make the experience about that role. We use that again to leverage as a sales opportunity to make some copy that's about the prospect, about the niche, and the results you drive. And we put a call to action in there to book a call or whatever the next steps might be.
Yep. I love that. So many people are still using that experience section to be an online resume, and your buyer, as you know, say a CFO in the manufacturing industry, doesn't really care about you driving sales results for your last SaaS tech company. They care about what do you know and what results do you drive in their sector. So I think that's great advice, Harry. Tell me a little bit about your experience with Sales Navigator. I'm a big fan of Sales Navigator for building lists because of the way that you can get so focused with your targeting, and with more people, getting more active and flocking to LinkedIn every day. I've got to believe that, we've been talking about when people are coming to you, making your profile look attractive and design it to convert. Let's flip that and talk about, building lists and going after new connections via LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of Sales Navigator. It's a great tool. The things that I think people can take advantage of just right out of the gate, just beginners with Sales Navigator, is some of the advanced search filters. They exist on the regular LinkedIn search, but they have slight improvements in Navigator. So for example, in the regular people search, you can search for certain companies. There's certain accounts you want to target, but it doesn't limit it to just people that currently work at that company. But on Sales Navigator, you can restrict the search to just people that currently work at that company. So that's like a very nice quick win out of the gate to use Sales Navigator. It also, a little bit more advanced thing that I use pretty heavily is they have these Boolean searches. So you can put, or and combine a little bit more sophisticated search queries. And so I'll often use that for looking at specific job titles or looking at a batch of companies. So are you familiar with like account-based marketing as a strategy, Logan?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. So basically I might build a Boolean string for a company that's, 100 different accounts, and I put that in and I can basically limit my list just to those 100 accounts with people with just these particular titles. And a lot of folks really like to pursue that kind of account-based marketing approach. And so it facilitates that really nicely.
Today's growth story is about a computer software and hardware firm with a footprint of over 100,000 employees. This company was struggling to engage with partners across a variety of territories and sales focuses. So with a goal of penetrating white space accounts and growing their premier partner base, this company implemented a solution rooted in data intelligence and channel enablement to engage with over 400 partners. This resulted in 122% partner growth year over year, coupled with an MQL to SQL conversion rate of over 78%. So what was this magical solution that produced such amazing results? MRP Prolitics. MRP Prolitics is an insights-powered account-based marketing platform with streaming predictive analytics baked into its core. Integrating multi-channel ABM execution on these insights, MRP Prolitics triggers display, email, direct mail, and global inside sales in real time, helping the largest marketing departments in the world deliver the right message to their customers at just the right time. So could MRP Prolitics work for you too? There's a real good chance it could. Find out by visiting mrpfd.com or click the link in the episode description of this interview. All right, let's get back to the show.
Yeah, I mean, Sales Navigator can be great if you've already got those accounts, and even if you don't, and you're trying to figure out where do I start. Maybe you have a large addressable market. You can dial in, company size, seniority level, job function, and or title, region if you sell specific to a certain region, and use that to help start from scratch if you're just getting started with ABM to figure out what accounts should I be targeting first at the top of that pyramid.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not. I think account-based marketing is it's a fantastic strategy if you have a very niche product, or if you have an expensive product and there's only a certain segment of the market that can have it. But often I recommend just starting with picking out a vertical, picking out a couple job titles, and just building a list off of that to get started as you figure out who you best work with at what stage of the market.
All right. So you've got a list, you've got some folks that you want to strike up new conversations with. What have you found as best practices, Harry, about sending those connection requests to potential future customers?
Yeah. So it's ultimately LinkedIn, and doing the actual outreach is all about, it's about building the connection. It's building the relationship and sparking a conversation. You're not going to close anybody on LinkedIn. And so what I've seen work best is people that can really take a kind of give value approach first, looking just to build a relationship approach first. And then if you've designed your LinkedIn profile appropriately and your messaging is on point, then a percentage of these people that you're starting to network with are going to want to take a call with you, like pretty quickly. So it's not that you have to have a hard sale. It's more just you use the LinkedIn outreach and the connection request to get their attention and start chatting with them. And then if your message resonates, they will want to speak with you further offline.
What would you say makes a good personalized connection request, Harry?
It depends on the industry. It depends on the person who's sending it. Often I will say something like, I'll try to limit it down to one other aspect that maybe I have in common with them. So we've gotten our original list, right? But maybe we drill it down further and do only people in Atlanta, because I'm from Atlanta, or we do people that went to the same university as me, or some other thing. You get creative with some angle, and you add a line in there about like acknowledging that commonality, so that we either went to the same school, or we're from the same town, or we're in the same role. That one works really well. Often it's just like saying, hey, it looks like we're both in sales. It looks like we're both in data science. I'm always looking to expand my network. And when I came across your profile, I was intrigued. Like, let's connect. Super simple. Don't make it look like an email. Just make it look like you really did just chat with the person and stumble across them and want to connect.
Yeah, I think you hit on something really good there, Harry. We had Chris Handy on the podcast a while back, actually for not the first time, but he was talking about, he's at Drift, and he was talking about, using conversational tools like chat, like Drift, and not taking that conversational piece and making it non-conversational, basically. Send a little snippet where you would reply to someone in the chat, like, thanks. Okay, what about this? And then break that up. And I think that same kind of conversational tone and approach that you're advocating here for, instead of, okay, I'm going to max this out and make it look like a formal email in this connection request and use up every bit of the characters available. I like what you're saying there. So what are your thoughts on the follow-up sequence once you have a new connection on LinkedIn, Harry?
So this is probably the part that's the most custom. It depends on what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish. So what I'm advising most folks to do is to do like a 3 to 4 message sequence if they are looking to generate leads and kind of get those conversations as quickly as possible. Some people are just more interested in building their network, building their brand, because if they can build up these connection requests, build these new connections, then they can share content organically in the feed and grow their reach through that in a little bit more long-term fashion. But let's think about the lead gen side for now. What I'll often do is, if they've connected with me within 15, 20 minutes of them connecting, I try to send them a message. It's like, hey, thanks so much for connecting. Looking forward to staying in touch. Have a great week. Super non-salesy, just really friendly, building that rapport. And then a couple of days later, I'll ask them a question about their role or their industry, something that's on point. So maybe I'm reaching out to a bunch of marketers, and I just want to spark a conversation around marketing. So I say, hey, have you all had any luck generating leads with G2 Crowd or Capterra or something like that? And they'll say, no, we haven't tried it yet. Or yeah, we've been having some luck. And then that's just starting a conversation. And at that point, I think about it like I'm at a networking event in person, but it's happening online in LinkedIn Messenger. So anything that's the general rules that make for good networking, active listening, asking good follow-up questions about whatever they're talking about, I keep doing that. And you keep doing this until they feel like, wow, I've gotten a lot of value from this person. Who is this guy? And they'll eventually turn and transition. They'll be like, well, what do you do? And at that point, you basically can talk and talk about what you do a little bit, and they'll either be interested, and if they are, you can continue to talk about that new topic until they ask for a meeting or a follow-up or to send a case study, or you can kind of tell that they're not that interested, and you can just switch the conversation back to something else. The whole point of the sequence is to basically spark that conversation and build that relationship. And if you do it well, you're going to get people that are intrigued about what you do and wanting to follow up after.
Yeah, I love the approach that you're advocating for, is not initially, pouncing with the pitch, either in the connection request, which I've seen, or immediately after. Thanks for connecting. Blah, 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 huge, have to scroll to read the whole thing of, on not only selling me for a meeting, but selling me on their product or service immediately. But I've found that value first, that slower play, that bringing social back into social media, like you said, be social, be a human, and you'll be surprised at how quickly slowing down will yield actually faster results. So I love what you're advocating for. One of my questions is just what's new in your world, especially if they've just changed roles or something like that. What projects are you working on? Is there someone I can connect you with? There's tons of ways simply to add value and to build rapport that beyond just that pitch and pounce mentality. So,
and I would just add, like, one of the things that where I get a lot of my ideas on how to do this well, the actual conversation piece is there's an old famous book, I'm sure you've heard of it, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it talks a lot about just how do you have good conversations, how do you be a conversationalist, and ultimately you just have to be genuinely interested in other people without any ulterior motive in mind, whether they're going to help you or not. You have to really want to be interested in learning about them. And if you can do that well and sincerely, like it will pay back dividends.
Yep, absolutely, man. That definitely tried and true book for anyone in sales and marketing. We're actually taking our team through it this month. We do a weekly book club, and that one, excited to dive back into that and have some other team members get into that as well. So that's a great recommendation. We'll link to that in the show notes. Harry, if anybody wants to follow up with you, learn more about what you and the team at ConvoPanda are up to, or reach out and ask you some follow-up questions about LinkedIn or other topics, what's the best way for them to go about doing that, man?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are online at ConvoPanda.com. What I would encourage, if you're interested in this strategy more, we've got this really, really good, like, in-depth free training on LinkedIn and how you can basically implement all these strategies yourself. We've got message templates, we've got results, we've got all of it there for you to have if you want to learn more about this. So just go on ConvoPanda.com and click free training and take a look at that. And if you want to follow with me directly, you can also follow me there.
Awesome. Harry, this has been a great conversation, man. Thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thanks, Logan. It's been great.
Digital marketing agencies have a tough job. You have to stay on top of the latest marketing strategies for your clients and your agency. What if there was a way you could address both at the same time? Imagine your agency putting out content with greater quality and quantity. Envision bringing your clients a turnkey solution for one of B2B marketing's fastest growing media strategies, podcasting. You know, all those clients asking for your help with their account-based marketing efforts? Picture being the first to bring them the idea of content-based networking, showing them the proven strategy for breaking into their most coveted accounts. Here's the concept. Sweetfish Media is looking to work with a limited number of innovative agencies interested in a new partnership model. We produce a podcast for your agency. You introduce the power of podcasting and Sweetfish services to your clients. Everybody wins. Learn more at sweetfishpartners.com.